Want to know what I've been thinking about, contemplating over the past few days? It is your God given, inalienable right to be ignorant, to be uninformed, to believe things that are not true, to manipulate facts, to selectively um, adhere to sources or to ignore um, counterbalancing or refutive sources. Like it's your freedom, your liberty, your right to do so as much as you want. And in fact, most of the institutions of the world would prefer it if you remain that way. And the reason they want that is it makes you easier for them to use, abuse, and to manipulate you with your underdeveloped sense of the world. It makes you easier for it makes it easier for them to use you even against your own will for whatever their purposes might be. And this has in part been brought up, kind of dawned on me, I guess, because we're of course in an election year, and we just came out of the Christmas season, and just all of social media constantly, the Christmas tree is evil or satanic or it's all pagan or it's Mithras and all these silly things that get perpetuated through the Halloween and the Christmas season and the Easter season that's coming up, where people just, it's blatant lies, but they don't know it because they're ignorant. And social media has magnified this so that there's almost no consequences today in being ignorant. As far as like you can make a lot of money actually being ignorant. Like you think about some of the things that very, very famous people have said about anything and everything, that often some of the most beautiful and well liked and wealthiest people, they're the most uninformed people ever. Something that comes to mind is that Ricky Gervais, I think it's the Golden Globe speech that he made, right? That they're so separate from the actual functions of the real world, and yet they feel entitled to make speeches telling common people what they should do with their money and their values and their votes, etc. It's something that came up in the Constitutional Convention quite a bit, of can we, them speaking as the men that were in the convention, can we trust the common person with the responsibility of choosing their representatives and leaders and judiciaries and such like? Can we trust them with that responsibility? And over and over, it's one of the longest, most exhaustive debates that they had, because the argument against it is pretty fervent. It's pretty powerful. That, quite frankly, we probably can't. And another instance where this came up is I was watching an interview with someone. It was, I don't know what the interview itself as a whole was about. This is just like an excerpt from it, and I don't know who was speaking either. But he was saying, we were there, the whole thing of Kamala saying that like the 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds are stupid, and how that's kind of a common, like generationally conflicted talking point, talking about how stupid kids are these days and such, and whether or not it's true. And this is how the man, responded. He asked the person asking the question, "What kind of car do you drive?" But the guy wouldn't play along. So he just moved on to another question at another, I guess, interviewer, another journalist asked that person what kind of car that person drove. That person drives a Mercedes-Benz C-Class, likely has most of the luxury upgrades, whistles and bells, that whole thing. And so the person being asked then followed up with, would you trust the keys of that car in the hands of an 18-year-old? And the person responded, well, maybe not most 18-year-olds, but I do have an 18-year-old child, I think daughter, and she drives me occasionally in it. And so that he went off to like that, sure, fine, whatever, right? That especially the nicer the vehicle, the nicer the car, the more well preserved the classic vehicle or whatever, the less likely you are to let some 18-year-old just grab the keys and go, because the responsibility that it involves, right? That and as well the liability that is entailed, that someone's going to have to pay for it when the speeding tickets, or someone wraps that thing around a telephone, like someone's going to have to pay for all that, and you don't want to deal with it, so you don't let the kid drive. And the same way, right, even a 21-year-old, like if he followed up again with, you as 18, did you want a car like the one that you have now? And the person was yes. Did you have one though? The answer was no. And the reason why is because the people that had the ability to make that decision didn't trust you with that responsibility, but you earned it, right? Well, in the same way, I would not trust an 18-year-old with my vote, but it is their right to use their vote however they want. And it kind of causes people to think for a minute that I wouldn't trust me driving the car that I have now, which is not a special one, it's just a Focus. I wouldn't trust me back then, when I first got my license, to drive that car, to drive this car. But the 93 Ford Thunderbird that I had back then, it was just an old beater hoopty. Sure, fine, whatever, right? And over time, the work I put into that car, the work I put into learning how to drive in a safe and reasonable manner and such, I earned the privilege of upgrading. In the same way, like, you think about, like, of course, like, the talking point of 18-year-olds don't know how to vote because they're stupid and ignorant. Sure, fine, whatever. But humans learn by experience. And I guarantee every person that is older, that is saying that 18-year-olds don't know how to vote, or that they're ignorant or whatever, they threw their 18-year-old vote away as well. Their 19, their 21-year-old vote as well. They threw they wasted them. Doesn't matter who it was for, if it was for Reagan, or if it was for, I don't know, Nixon, or Kennedy, or if it was for just whoever it was for, Jimmy Carter. Doesn't matter who the vote was for. Whoever it was that they were voting for at 18, at 19, at 25, maybe even, it was a wasted vote. It doesn't matter if the vote was winning or not. Doesn't matter if the candidate won. The information that they had to make that decision was not what they needed to have. And quite frankly, they made an uninformed choice. But they made the best choice that they could given the information they had, potentially. So, same thing. Kids these days, they're going to vote for the first time in their election, 18-year-olds that are this year. They're going to vote for the first time this year in their own election. And it's probably going to be a dumb throwaway. It's probably going to be a silly choice that they make. It's probably going to be a lot of them. Like, I remember in, 2016, when a bunch of people got together, thousands of people got together, and they voted for Harambe, a dead gorilla. And every year, the number of people that vote for Jesus Christ, Mickey Mouse, Spider-Man, Captain America, a lot of people throw away their votes because of stupid reasons. A lot of people do stupid things with their votes. A lot of people just choose not to vote, like whatever. But that's their right to do so. Which brings us back to the debate of that, can the common man be trusted with their own responsibilities? The answer is probably no. But that's their right. And that's the whole thing of that. One of the things about tyranny is that it takes away things from people because it thinks those people can't handle it. Liberty is giving people the ability, the rope to hang themselves if necessary. That's what liberty is. And so when people ask me, why isn't God doing more in society? Why isn't God preventing more evil from happening in society? Why isn't God intervening more often to keep people from doing bad things? And my answer to that question is, do you want to be free? Do you want to be free, or do you want to be enslaved? Do you want to be constrained? Because everyone, I've talked about this before, everyone wants to be libertarian in regards to their own beliefs and ideas. But everyone also wants to be a tyrant regarding the beliefs and the ideas and the actions of others. We want to control and restrain and to limit and to legalistically infringe upon the things that other people are allowed to do. But we want everyone to just let us do whatever we want. It's why when someone gets pulled over for speeding, the first question that the person will ask once the window is down is, officer, why didn't you pull up all the other people that were speeding? Why did you get me? Not because they aren't guilty, but because they feel entitled to being excused in their guilt. So, do you want to be free? Because if you want to be free, that means also that you're going to end up with evil. If you want to be free, you're going to be entertained by evil. If you want to be free, you want liberty, then you're going to endure a society in which the worst people have the ability to do the worst things to the best people. I think it's Thomas Jefferson that said that the poor will suffer what they must, and the rich will do what they will. So, what I'm saying is, why doesn't God do more? Because he wants us to be free. And in order for us to be free, we have to clean up our messes sometimes. And I think God would answer back as well if you asked him to his face, why doesn't he do more? I think he would have that same question for us as well. Why don't you do more? Because a lot of people complain about things they have the power within themselves to put an end to. I mean, that we have the money, the resources necessary to reach the entire world with the gospel. We're just not doing it. We have the ability, the resources available to end world hunger, to end people not having access to clean water. We have the resources necessary. We're just not doing it. To end slavery, to end sex slavery. We have the resources, we're just not doing it. And so maybe it's not as much of what is God doing, what is God not doing, but what are we doing? And that's where the ignorance comes in. We would rather bury our heads in the sands and pretend that these things aren't happening, or at least pretend they're happening so far away that we don't have to be concerned with it, so that we can go about our daily lives and then wonder why God isn't doing more. Instead, literally just shifting blame the way Adam did. The woman you gave me, and I ate.